to Competitive Communicators, where you only compete against yourself. I'll be giving you a brief explanation of how to use Zoom, which is what we use here for our meeting. In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a microphone that says mute. If you are not speaking, please use this so you don't interrupt the speaker. Next, you'll see a stop video. You use this if you need to leave your computer for any reason or have a snack. But when you return to your desk, please share video so we can see your lovely smiles. Then, of course, we have the chat button. When you click on this, it'll open a chat box. In this window, you can chat to the entire room, or by clicking on this down arrow, you can choose a specific person, such as one of our speakers, and leave them a note about something that you really enjoyed about their speech or something you saw that you think they could do to improve it for the next time. And lastly, it is our policy that participating in our meeting, you agree that a recording will be available publicly on our YouTube channel, website, and other public media. It is now my pleasure to turn this meeting over to our president, Aaron Long.
Thank you very much, Phil. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, welcome to Compare Communicators, where you compare yourself. I'm Aaron, I'm your president of this club. And we are having a very nice theme for today, loving leadership, and really this connects a lot to any one of our audience today, because you can see that all of you, I can see potential leaders that are going to be excelling in our future in our community. So we always have this session about early on to test your mics and also knowing about you as a guest, as a member, and as yourselves. So how would this situation be going by is that where you'll be introducing your name, where you're from, and also one leadership trait that you think you're accustomed to. So let's say, for example, my name is Aaron, I'm from Hong Kong, I'm the president of this club. One leadership trait that I think I have will be servant leadership, so which I practice in my clubs most of the time. So I will pass the stage to Tricia to start off this introduction.
Hi, I'm Trish. I live near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And my leadership trait that I think that I like the best is that I'm a good listener. And I'm able to use that to help communicate better between myself and whoever I'm speaking to, because I'm able to listen to what their concerns are and address them. Back to you.
Thank you very much, though. Next, we always do some ways to actually support our members online, so we don't disrupt them by clapping like this. We wave to actually support them. So let's do a warm up like waving. Every time we hear someone actually, not like this, but waving. But yeah, next we will have Cheryl. Introduce herself.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever it is. My name is Cheryl Poirier. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I think one of my greatest leadership traits over the last few years has been the development of patience. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, or sorry, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. Yeah, waving. Next, we have William. Please tell the virtual Latin.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. My name is William Thomas. I'm from Hollywood, Florida, and the one trait that I have, leadership trait, is also patience. I found that out this year, that I need to have a lot of patience with a lot of people. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, William. Yeah. Next, we have Matt.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Matt Gotchi, and I'm from Reno, Nevada. And I think my leadership skill is empowerment. I try to give my people that work for me all of the responsibility and the potential to be the best that they can be, and just remove roadblocks so that they can be successful. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Matt. And for everyone's information, I think if I'm not wrong or mistaken, Matt is our latest member, isn't it?
Yes, I just joined. I came from another Toastmasters club that's too far to drive across town and wanted to find an online group that I could be a part of. Thanks for having me.
No, it's actually our honor to have you. So feel free to have a stay at home. And if you have any questions, please talk with any of our members. We're here to assist you. Next, we have Ruth.
Hello, Mr. President. I am Ruth. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa, and my greatest leadership trait is resilience and modeling resilience. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Just to warm everyone up. Next,
It's
we
my
have
closet above my bed. It's all in like an 8-foot area, so I'm sorry about that. I just realized it was in the picture.
It's okay. I still have an olive with me right now. But next, we have JaMarr.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world. I am located in Los Angeles, California, and I would say my leadership quality would be go-giving service. And for those of you who aren't familiar, a go-giver is different than a go-getter. Rather than simply going to achieve things for myself, I look to empower others.
Your wave. And I would really have to say, JaMarr, you look like a newspaper reporter.
But I'm here in my studios here at the Grove.
Really cool background you have there. Next, we have Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'm in Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and I'd like to think my best leadership quality is I'm with Trish about being able to listen and ask questions and being aware that best solution can come from anybody, anytime, anywhere. Thank you.
Yay. Next, we have Sunny.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sunny, and I am from Mississippi. Glad to be here tonight. I'm also the Vice President of Education, and I like the qualities from Toastmasters that have to do with respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And I particularly like service because John Maxwell always likes to say you've got to have servant leadership and touch a heart before you ask for a hand. So I like that a lot. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Tricia.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the day may be for you. I'm Teresa Palmer. I'm currently in Alabama, and my leadership quality would be the ability to engage people and give them the opportunity to be active in whatever the project or whatever the situation is and needs to be done, and to make them feel like they're really a part of things and that it can't be done without a team. It's not just one person. So that's my leadership quality.
Thank you, Teresa. Next, we have Nick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. My name is Nick Lakhani. I'm from Manchester in the UK. I'm president of my bricks and mortar club over there. I also help out at this club over here. My favorite leadership skill is being an authoritarian leader. I love making my officers cry, especially the women. Hey, also I like to have fun as well. So that's the main thing. Let's turn up, have some fun, and learn something new. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. You nearly make me on tears. Next, we have Isabel.
Hi, this is Isabel from Attic City, Maryland. For many years, I don't really understand what the leadership was and what's my leadership style. But once I understand, I decide to become a dynamic leader, because to be an effective leader, you need to adapt to change and adapt to different situations. So that's what my goal is. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Joanne Foster.
evening, everyone. Hi, fellow Toastmasters, coming to you from Hanover, Maryland. I think my favorite or best leadership quality is listening and keeping it light, keeping everything fun in life and turning negative situations into positivity. Thank you. Back to you, President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Haram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, everyone. This is Hariom from Jersey City, New Jersey. And one of the leadership quality that I have is mentoring and guiding people quite well. So I gel with people, and I think treating people and having nice coordination with them is pretty important when you're a leader, and that I think to some extent I have. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have our guest. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Sawan, just in case I pronounce it wrongly.
Safwan, you did a very good job at pronouncing it. Hey everybody, my name is Safwan. I'm from Toronto, but I'm currently living in New York City. And I'd say that my greatest leadership quality is the ability to practice humility and compassion and empathy is what I've been trying to practice a lot recently.
Thank you. Next, we have Kea. Hi. Can you hear us, Kea?
I think that's Katya.
Katya, my bad. You have to unmute yourself, though. Unmute yourself at the bottom left-hand corner.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Thank you. Yeah, it's Katya. So my name is Katya. I'm originally from Russia, and right now I live in Colorado Springs. I think the good quality, the leadership quality is organizational skill. I tend to believe that I'm a good organizer. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. Finally, we wrap up with Rolando. Are you there, Rolando?
Hi, everybody. I'm having some technical trouble with my video. My name is Rolando Goldman. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. I'm delighted to be here tonight. And my biggest quality is my smile. You cannot see my smile right now. I'm going to work on it so you can see it. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. So finally, we come by to Rainey, if she's there. Rainey?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Rainy. I'm from China, and I am learning how to be a leader, and I hope that I could improve my leadership skill here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that concludes the introductions, and now we move on to the really very fun aspects of our meeting. Our meeting runs down in 3 different portions, but before that even starts, we have an inspiration for today to wake us all up, to inspire us, to give us all the energy we need for the rest of the day or rest of the night. So we'll pass the stage to Cheryl, who will be our inspiration of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. As some of you know, I have been a leader in Toastmasters for a number of years. I have learned many, many things by doing that. Now, leaders do not work alone, of course. After all, in order to be a leader, you need to have people who are willing to follow you. Unfortunately, I've seen people try to do leadership by doing everything themselves. Perhaps they're believers in that saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. That does not work in Toastmasters or in leadership. Leaders have to learn to let go as to what they perceive as being the right way, because often there's many more ways to do it correctly. Now, empowerment was mentioned by a couple of our members tonight, and I very much appreciated that. I also heard people talk about listening. I would like to give you a little quote from Mark Twain, an American humorist and author, and what he said about leadership. A statesman, he said, gains little by the arbitrary exercise of ironclad authority, upon all occasions that offer. For this wounds the just pride of his subordinates, and thus tends to undermine his strength. A little concession now and then, where it can do no harm, is the wiser policy. And that's from his novel, Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. And what he means, of course, is empower your people. Don't be a strong arm like Nick Lachani said he loves to do, be authoritarian. Let people do what they can in order to help you out, because they will play to their own strengths and you'll have a much stronger team. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Waves. And I forgot to mention, apologize that I haven't introduced Matt. Matt, can you speak for 30 seconds about your leadership trait too?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Matt Smittle. I live in Blairsville, Georgia. And my leadership trait is flexibility. If the situation changes, I'm able to be flexible and go along with whatever change that is. Mr. President.
Oh, thank you for unmuting myself. I was saying that, is Jerry there? If Jerry is not there, then I'll pass the stage to our Toastmaster today. But Jerry.
Jerry's here.
Yes. Hi, Jerry.
How are you? My name is
Good.
Jerry Weeder. I'm from Federal Way, Washington. My leadership skill is being able to have others participate.
Give a wave. Thank you, Jerry, for introducing yourself. Now, it's the time whereby we kickstart our meeting. Let's pass the stage to our Toastmaster today, Tricia Grow. Your applause.
Thank you so much. Today's theme is loving leadership. I love leading so much, I became Toastmaster of the Day 2 times in a row. Our Toastmaster meetings are broken into 3 segments. We have the prepared speakers, table topics, which is impromptu speaking, and evaluations. So I cannot do this meeting all by myself. I have many people who will be helping me. I would like to introduce them. The first person I would like to introduce to you is our app counter, Matt Gotchi. Matt, would you please give a brief explanation of what you'll be doing this evening?
Thank you, Toastmaster. The purpose of the Ah counter is to note any overused words or filler sounds used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, and you know. Sounds may be ah, and or. As Ah counter, I will keep track of these and provide the results at the end. Back to you, Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Matt. And then next we have our grammarian, will be Ruth Hart. Ruth, would you please explain your duties for this evening?
Absolutely, Madam Toastmaster. The grammarian is the individual who chooses the word of the day, I believe, in your club. And the word of the day will be resilience. Resilience is an attitude of being able to bounce back from something. For example, a rubber band is resilient. And it's also an aspiration that many of us have in our leadership and in our Toastmasters experiences. So the word of the day is resilient. I will be looking for how many people use that word. I'll be recognizing them. I'll also be addressing incorrect usages of grammar and correcting them if I find them. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Ruth. And then if you could please put that in the chat box so everyone can view that. Be great. And we'll move on to our next person that will be assisting us tonight, which is our body language monitor, our president, Aaron Long.
Thank you very much, Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters, most distinguished guests, my role is as a body language monitor is to observe all the virtual gestures or eye contact through the camera users, and also some backgrounds that may be very unique and exclusive to you, such as, for example, Cheryl, which is using a nice green screen. So I'll be commenting and making the report at the end of the meeting. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And then next we have our chat monitor, who is Matthew. Matthew, could you please explain your duties this evening?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. As chat monitor, I will be looking at the chat box throughout the meeting. I will be looking for good phrases. I will ensure that questions are answered from people, and I will see how active the chat box is throughout the evening. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much.
Am I there? Okay.
Before I introduce the speakers, I'll be asking each evaluator to give the parameters of the speech project that the speaker is working on. And then at the end of each speaker, I'll be asking the timer for 1 minute of silence where you can type in your thoughts to the speakers. So our first speaker tonight is Julianne Foster, and she is going to be evaluated by Isabel. Isabel, could you please share what Julianne is attempting to work on for this evening?
Yes, I do as best as I can. Since I'm not sure which project is Joanne working on, I'm assuming she's working on the research and presenting project. So she will give us a speech on a research the project, research the topic, and I believe it's about internet dating. And she will give us share a lot of knowledge on that and give us some fun story about that. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And I was derelict in my duties, and I skipped our timer, who's one of our most important people for this evening, as our timer, who will be William Thomas. Would you please explain your roles and show us what you'll be using for your timing parameters?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. You see this green bottle? That's going to be for the speeches 5 minutes or whatever time your speech will be. Yellow, 6 minutes. And red, 7 minutes. And you have 30 seconds to complete your speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. My apologies for missing you.
That's okay.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Julianne Foster. Please help me welcome her to the virtual lectern.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight, my speech is called Online Dating in the 21st Century. And the purpose of my speech is to provide you with 5 tips to help you navigate the world of online dating. So when I say the word online dating, what comes to your mind? Maybe you're married and you've already found the man or woman of your dreams. Maybe you're single, but you believe that you're too old or too young or not computer savvy enough to do online dating. Whatever your situation is, online dating has its advantages. You could find your soulmate. It increases your chances because you can screen lots of people before you decide to meet them. Well, here are 5 crucial tips that I found that could save you a lot of time and heartache. Tip number 1, if you're over 50, avoid Friday night movie dates. You might wind up snoring before the movie is over. Tip number 2, look out for the thirst trap. Now, I thought to myself, what is a thirst trap? Is that a refreshing drink offered by your true love or soulmate? But it's not. A thirst trap or thirsting is when someone posts a picture with captions that might say something like, "Look at my new poodle." But all the while, they're really making you look at their deep cleavage or their super big pecs. Tip number 3 about drinks: please finish your drink before you go to the restroom. There are still some unsavory characters out there in the online dating world with malicious intent. Tip number 4, learn new dating jargon, like breadcrumbing, which means flirtatious little text just to keep you interested, or ghosting, which is ceasing all social media correspondence and disappearing forever without any explanation. Or even catfishing, which is posting a false profile with a picture you took 20 years ago. And my favorite, slayed, the act of getting plenty of online dates. Tip number 5. After you've been armed with your new dating jargon, 21st century vocabulary, feel free to use it in a conversation to impress your date. Say things like, "Yeah, he or she kept breadcrumbing me, so I ghosted him or her." Or, "My catfish profile is really getting me slayed these days." Please understand, I'm in no way a dating expert. I'm not an online dating expert. Actually, the truth is, I've only been on one online date in my whole life. And it wasn't that great. It was kind of scary. Actually, I remember after a while, I found myself rushing home from work to look on my computer and just scrolling through hundreds of profile pictures like I was shopping for a pair of shoes. Kind of scary. I'm so glad that things have changed now. I mean, you know, they have these new apps you can get. They're online dating apps. One is called Tinder, and there's one called Coffee Mate, and there's another one called Bumble, which kind of sounds like a can of tuna fish. But whatever, do your research. Like the words of the great Warner von Braun said, research is what you do when you don't know what you're doing. Now, my neighbor, she certainly did her research. I mean, she was in her late 40s and she got divorced, and she was divorced about 4 years, and she was very depressed. And then all of a sudden, she found this handsome man, and I learned that he was from Sweden. And I'm so happy for her that she's now married and she's living with this new husband that she found online. So if you're single and you're looking for someone special, you could find happiness in online dating too. So finally, I hope my stories and my advice, they've helped you in some way to navigate the world of online dating in the 21st century. So now go ahead, be bold, be resilient, navigate that world of online dating. What are you waiting for? Why don't you give it a try? Thank you. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and invited guests.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Our next speaker is Nick Mahoney, and the person who will be evaluating his speech is Cheryl. Cheryl, would you please share what Nick's parameters are for the speech?
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster. Nick is working in the Motivational Strategies Path, Level 1. The purpose of this project, which is research and presenting, is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched, and I'm going to add, because he wants me to, engaging speech on a particular topic. And the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Tonight, lost my place. Tonight, Nick will be delivering a speech from Pathways, Motivational Strategies Level 1, Mastering the Fundamentals, Researching and Presenting. Following his recent trip to India, Nick analyzes research collected firsthand on a train journey and wants to help the audience gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of Indian society, culture, and economy. With a speech titled, Let the Train Take the Strain, please help me welcome Nick.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Before I actually start the speech, Mr. Timer, can I please have audible timings at 5, 6, and 7, please? Thank you. In addition to that, I will be posting on the chat a PDF of the data that I've collected firsthand, and also the slide deck I'm going to use today as well, just if you're interested. Now, I'm going to tell you about my story of my trip to India a few weeks ago. In terms of the phrase, let the train take the strain, that actually comes from a TV advert for British Rail here in the UK back in the 1980s. But my train journey was from Mumbai to a place called Vadodara and back again 5 days later. 392 kilometers each way, taking 4 hours and 50 minutes. Approximate speed, 80 kilometers per hour. And the ticket cost was 1,700 Indian rupees in each direction. That's approximately £17 or $22. Now, I could actually give you lots of stats on trains, but I'm not. I'm going to explain to you that I actually traveled by one of the best trains there is in India called the Shatabdi Express, and in one of the best carriages, which is the first class AC Executive. I'm going to share with you some pictures so you can take a peek as well. Now, I started my journey at Mumbai Central, which is a magnificent station built in 1930 under the British Raj. It's not too shabby these days as well, but it is really, really busy. I got on the train, and this is my carriage. Have a look at it. This is almost like first class of your airline, isn't it? We have individual videos or TVs for everybody, reclining seats, as you can see on the top left hand of the picture over here. And this particular train didn't even need an engine. No, I'm kidding about that. You get the idea. It is not a normal train that I'm used to in the UK. This was much better, much more luxurious. What I found was, though, that they had lots and lots of food all the way through. There's some more, and yet some more. And trust me, it was all delicious. Well, apparently, I couldn't eat all of it. This was half of the food that they served in one direction, folks, in 4 hours and 50 minutes. Just have a think about it. It was heaven. The other two things that I noticed on my trip on the train was that there was lots of staff, and also that they liked the comfort. You saw the chairs, the recliners. They're like armchairs. It's better than the armchair I have in front of my 50-inch TV. This was fantastic. The three things I took away from that journey were the number of staff, the comfort, and the food. So let's take it in order. Let's look at the number of staff. In our carriage, we had 100 passengers. We had 5 or 6 attendants looking after us. In 2019, it is estimated that the Indian population is 1.35 billion. Let me repeat, 1.35 billion. Trust me, when I was over there, counted them all. In 2015, it's estimated that Indian Railways employed 1.4 million employees, making it the 7th biggest employer in the whole world. And again, I know, I saw half of them on my carriage, but I jest. This result of overpopulation leads to mass poverty, and also labor is very, very cheap. Hence, service jobs are plentiful compared to low paying in Western terms. For example, in a shop, in a restaurant, there's lots of people waiting to serve you. You could buy one packet of biscuits and potentially 5 people could actually serve you to actually buy those biscuits in a shop.
5 minutes, Mr. Speaker.
In terms of comfort, I look at society. In India, they like their home comforts. They have servants at the home. Now, it could be one servant, it could be 2, 3, or 4, either full-time or coming part-time during the day to do specific chores. One for the ironing, one for the cooking, one for the cleaning, and so on. Or just one to do the thing that you don't want to do. People like to be served. And also, it's too hot sometimes to do all the housework yourself. Thirdly, the food. The food is part of the culture, same as music, dance, Bollywood. You can order lovely food to your house, but why not do this? Go to the local cinema and let's go to, any second, a cinema with, guess what? Reclining seats. Seen that before somewhere? People having fun. Well, I've been to this theater and it's okay. I've been to this one, it's better. Now, this time I went to this one. It was tremendous. It was better than the Ritz. It is fantastic. I went with my wife, we sat down, and I sat and chatted to this most beautiful woman next to me, to my left. Lovely, beautiful, fantastic. Unfortunately, Mrs. Nick was on this side. So I quickly had to Brexit, give a hard Brexit, and turn back to Mrs. Nick. You get the idea. People like the culture. People like the cinema. People like to have food delivered there. And the movies last 3 to 3.5 hours. They like to have fun. Trust me, they have fun. So what does this actually all show us? What does it tell us about what we're doing here today? In terms of Indian cinemas, they have a big impact, and they're going to have a big impact going forward. Do you know why? They are actually part of the fantastic Western movement called consumerization. You can actually go, have what you want, pay for it, no questions asked. Wonderful. In summary, though, it is going to cause a problem. Let me share with you one last slide. And it actually shows something really interesting, that Indian cinemas are going to continue the overpopulation in the Indian subcontinent. And if I can get to the right slide, India is going to take over China in terms of population. Why is this? Because Indians will be continued going to the cinema. They'll be served everything except birth control. So therefore, the population will increase. In China, they're smart. They're not going to do all this. They're going to work hard, save the money, and spend it on electronic goods. And their population will fall. When you go abroad, ask a lot about how much it costs in pounds per dollars, but also ask lots of other questions like who, what, where, when, how, and why. This will make you a well-educated and well-rounded individual. Look beyond the basic facts, look for the information, and finally, educate yourself, but have fun doing it. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for those who sent little notes to Joanne for her speech, and I'll now ask the timer to give us 1 minute to do the same for Nick. Please send a note to Nick about his speech, something that you enjoyed, something you saw that he can do to make it better for the next time.
Madam Toastmaster, 1 minute's up.
All right, thank you very much. Time for our third speaker this evening. And our evaluator of JaMarr is Sunny. Sunny, could you please share what you know about JaMarr's project?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. What I know about his speech is very little, but I am very interested in seeing what he has to say. I can tell you that he is going to be speaking from the Visionary Communication Level 4, Building Skills, Building a Social Media Presence, and Verbal Brainstorm. Sounds interesting. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. JaMarr is a member of 5 Toastmaster clubs. We're very similar in that aspect. And he's president of Coach Masters in Culver City. Today, he comes with his leadership hat on as he works on his 4th speech and his 3rd path in the New Pathways educational curriculum. He is both a leadership development proficient and effective coaching proficient in Pathways. Podcasting is the #1 platform for content. Why? Because it fits into people's lives. How does it do that? Well, in this speech, our speaker will talk about how he created his own and why you should do it if you plan to impact the world. Please help me welcome JaMarr.
Oops.
Let me ask you a question. Do you plan on impacting the world now, later, or maybe in the far off distant future? How are you going to do that? The odds are you're going to use your ability to communicate a message to someone, whether it be verbal, whether it be written, or whether it be through some visual representation. The fact of the matter is, social media is here to stay. It creates an opportunity for us to connect and learn information and see the world that we may have not seen before. I got a question for you though. What's the best way to do it? You see, a lot of people look at social media and they think it's very surfacey. But if you look just beneath the surface, there's something called podcasting that will change your life and all the people that you plan on impacting. And I'm going to show you how and why. So about 4 years ago, I decided to start my own podcast. Back in those days, it was extremely difficult. Then services came along that made it possible for you to create your own podcast for around $30 per month. The $30, what was that for? That was to host the podcast someplace in the cloud so that your users can download it without interruption. Let's fast forward years later. With the advent of Google and YouTube, now people have the opportunity to put a podcast in full video form. Now, a lot of people watch video. guaranteed that. But the average user watches video for about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. No coincidence. Podcasts fit into people's lives in minutes and hours and seconds. A user can listen to your podcast, have to make a stop, put it on pause, and then come back to it a few minutes later. You see, when you have a podcast, you can talk for hours and hours and hours on end. One of my favorite podcasts is a comedian named Joe Rogan, who has one of the #1 podcasts in his space. And what's his space? What's his area of expertise? Well, he's a comedian, but he brings on people from all walks of life: authors, news correspondents, journalists, CEOs of companies, people who are running for president. Andrew Yang was just one of his most recent guests running for the 2020 president in the United States. So podcasts create an opportunity for you to do something that has never been able to be done before. Imagine being a fly on the wall and listening in on two people having a conversation that can go anywhere. What podcasts do is allow you to create intimacy at scale. That is priceless. You see, in traditional advertising senses, you could create a post on Facebook or on Instagram and just stand by and wait for likes. But there's no depth there. Having your own podcast allows people to go deeper beneath the surface of what you're presenting, to learn more about the things you care about. Like, for example, a nonprofit that I care about is called the Covenant House. Located in 24 countries, they have 80 locations helping at-risk teenagers between 18 and 24 get off the street, get on their feet, get a warm meal, get training, get consulting, get therapy, job placement, so that they can go back into society. Now, I could just make a post on Instagram and show you, hey, I'm out here helping the homeless. But if I also have a podcast that maybe takes 10 minutes out of a segment to talk about what it means to me and why I'm so impacted by this nonprofit, now a person has an opportunity to go deeper themselves. I don't care what business you're in. The more information a consumer knows about your business, the more they can trust you to be the one to provide them that service. Now, in my day job, I'm a financial advisor. And this is one of those things that no one gets taught in high school in America, how to be good with money. In fact, I have an undergrad degree in accounting. The only thing they taught us was business accounting, how to help a corporation be on top of its taxes. So a podcast for me allows me the opportunity to let the people listening know a little bit more about me, learn about what I do and how I can help them. They end up walking away a lot more informed. Now, here's some of the numbers. The reason why you should start a podcast is because it's not even a crowded space. There are hundreds and hundreds of millions of websites. There's only 200,000 active podcasts. And this data was taken from HubSpot. They keep track of all of these metrics, and so the space is not crowded. Here's another thing. When you have a podcast, you start to increase your social cachet, so to speak. When people notice you have an audience that is willing to listen, whether it be 100 people a month or 1,000 people a month, there are people who are willing to pay you to put some advertising in front of them. Because, as I mentioned earlier, the average person watches only 4 minutes and 20 seconds of video regularly, but they listen to between 15 and 20 minutes of audio. Some podcasts go for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. If you're a history buff, they've got podcasts for that. In fact, if you think about any category, there's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 podcasts in those areas. So how would you like to come out of the gate and start with a podcast that's number 3 in the rankings? Even if it's only 3 of 3. Still, that's an audience that when they get done with all of the content that they've consumed from those first 2, they're looking for more. And there you are. The ability to be discovered. So my podcast is called Verbal brainstorm. Because I like having a verbal brainstorm with all of the people that I bring on so we can talk about some difficult problems, some light problems. We brainstorm ideas, we come up with new ways and new concepts of how we can impact the world. I like to think of it as an idea machine, but that podcast name was already taken. The possibilities are endless. If you want to impact the world, if you want to make a difference, you're going to have to do two things. You're going to have to use your voice, and you're going to have to find someone who's willing to listen to you. Podcasting is going to help you increase your capabilities as a speaker and as a leader. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to start one, even if it's one you only do monthly, even if it's one you only do quarterly, where you basically talk about the books you've read over the last 3 months and how they could be beneficial to your audience. You never know who's listening. On the final note, I'll leave you with this. I actually have 2 people who came to my area contest to watch me perform and win my first round in the World Championship of Public Speaking. I met them on Instagram. But because I had content that they could go consume, they got to know me. In a matter of 4 weeks, they knew me enough that they were going to come to California anyway for a vacation. They made time to come visit my club. They got touched by Toastmasters for the first time. And hopefully when they go back to Jersey, they will become members of Toastmasters. That's the power of social media. Connections are all around us, but you got to make the first move. Let your voice be heard. Start a podcast. Get on Instagram. Connect with people. The people who gravitate to your message and to your passion and to your vision will come. The saying goes, if you build it, they will come. And if you want to stay in contact with me on Instagram, I am at JaMarr J. JaMarrJ. And if you want to listen to my podcast, which is available on iTunes and all other major podcasting, because of an amazing service, an app called Anchor, you should start there. It's actually free to create your own podcast, and it'll even show you how to monetize it within weeks. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. I'll now ask the timer to give us 1 minute so we can all comment on JaMarr's speech.
Madam Toastmaster, the 1 minute is up.
Great, thank you very much. On to our next section, which is table topics. And our topics master for tonight is our very own, if I can find it, I'll have it on here. Miriam, please help me welcome Miriam.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters of the day. So the second section of tonight is table topic, and this is a section where we test the resilience, the actual resilient, how resilient you are thinking on the feet, and we practice the skill of thinking on the feet, which is very, very important in our personal and professional life. So the way it works is I'll give you a couple of table topic, and I'll pick up a guest or a member, and he or she will have to speak on the topic. So Mr. Timer, can you please elaborate the timing parameters for this section? Do we have Mr. Timer?
Yes, I'm right here. I'm right here. The green bottle will be showing at 1 minute 30. You'll see a yellow, and at 2 minutes, you see this red big bottle, which means you're at your mark. You need to stop speaking. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timer. So today's topic, I mean, we have already discussed quite a lot about leadership. Let's flip it a bit and let's talk about people and things we see all around us. So there are a lot of people and a lot of things we see all around us. We hardly notice them. So today's table topic is about that. And the first topic is, what do you like about your city? Let me repeat, what do you like about your city? And I would pick Rainy for that.
Me?
Yes, please.
What do you like about my city?
That's right. Simple one.
Yeah. I love everything about my city. I have to say, when I was a child, like when I was in high school or in kindergarten, I hate my city because I thought it was too small, because it was a little town in the middle of China, and it was very small, and there were not so many equipment or things that I can play with. So I always hated there was a experience when I went visit another city, and I thought, wow, that was a really great city because it's really large and there are so many streets and shops and people there. So I was like, I really hated my city, and I wanted to go out to another city when I grow up. But actually now I am working in another city far away from my hometown, but I miss my city very much. I miss the food there. I miss the people there, because I think people there are really warm and friendly, not like here, because everybody like stranger. And because my city is very tiny, so everybody actually lives very near to each other, and sometimes we would drop by to each other's house, but not like in the city where I live now. Everybody lives in their apartment with their doors shutting down, and so that we usually we don't drop by each other's houses, and we just like live separately from each other. So I think I really miss the city, my hometown, and I love everything there. That's all.
Thank you very much, Rainy. That was really great. I totally resonate with you, because when you live in the city, you don't like it so much, but when you move away, you start missing that city. And Nick spoke about India some time back, and which made me miss my country as in India, because I'm away from India as of now. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is, what do you like about your house? Let me repeat, what do you like about your house? And let me pick Matt for that. Matt, if you're okay, can you please go ahead?
Matt.
Which Matt?
There are two Matts, you know.
I'm sorry. How do I? Matt Smidl, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Matt Smidl, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I don't like the city that I'm in, but I do like the house that I'm in. It's in a nice, quiet neighborhood. Not many people around, which is nice. The city itself, though, is not that great, because the closest Toastmasters club is about an hour and a half away. So how good can a city be when the closest Toastmasters club is an hour and a half away? I'm not able to go to a Toastmaster club every week. That's why I joined this online club. There's also not much around here in my city. There's one Dunkin' Donuts, there's one Chinese place, there's a Starbucks. I used to live in South Florida, and there were 20 to 30 Toastmasters clubs I could have gone to. There were many Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks almost on every corner. But here in my city, there's not much. But my house, I like. The house inside my house is good. Everything is good. It's quiet. It's a good neighborhood. No crime. Not much around within the neighborhood, which is nice. But outside of the neighborhood, it's not that great. because the closest Toastmasters Club is an hour and a half away, and there's not much to do in my city. But the house itself is pretty good, and I like it. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Let me tell you something. I'm from New York. There are a lot of Toastmasters Club here, but I love this Toastmaster Club quite a lot because it's online and convenient. I don't miss any Toastmaster. Anyways, moving to the next topic. Next topic is, what do you like about the person you hate the most? What do you like about the person who is your enemy, who you hate the most? I will pick Katya for this. Katya, who is a guest, if you're okay speaking on this topic.
Okay. Yes, I'm definitely okay. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. What do I like about the person that I hate the most? Just thinking about it, I cannot really think about the person whom I hate. I think I'm more of a person who just likes people in general. At the same time, there might be some people who I work with, and I prefer to have easier relationships or ways I can deal with them better. And one time, a while back, I heard a quote: if you do not like something, try to know more about that person. So every time when I am struggling with just the way finding the approach to deal with people, I'm trying to think, okay, what is it that I like about the person? Let me try to find out more about him and her, or her about their background, family life, just so I know how to approach him and get my way around. Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much. I think that was pretty much it from the table topic. So back to you, Madam Toastmasters of the day.
Thank you so much, Harriet. Thought those were very interesting questions, although simple, very thought-provoking. So great job. It's now time for the third portion of our meeting, which is the evaluation session. And this session will be handled by William Thomas. Please help me welcome William.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and future Toastmasters. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Yes, I am your general evaluator. Can I please, Mr. Timer, could you please give me the timing requirements for general evaluators? Yes, Mr. General Evaluator. At 2 minutes, you'll see the green. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you'll see the yellow. And at 3 minutes, you will see the red with a 30-second deviation. Can I please have our first evaluator come forth?
Hello, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Joanne. I loved your speech. Excelled on so many things. Your speech language was clear and it's very easy to understand. You have good vocal variety. Throughout your speech, I can feel your passion and energy through your voice. You researched your topic really well. I learned many things. Online dating sites, apps, and the online dating jargon. That was fun. I was also happy to learn that your neighbor successfully found her soulmate online. Thank you for reminding us about the dangers and how to control the risk while taking advantage of the internet. Your speech also had great introduction and a strong ending. You started your speech with an engaging question. What comes to your mind? And then you ended your speech with a call for action, taking the advantage of internet. Above all, I really love your sense of humor. There is something could be improved. In the very beginning of your speech, you sort of introduced yourself and speech. I just wish that you had given the introduction to me as an evaluator or to the Toastmaster of the day, because it's our job to introduce your speech. And when it's your time to give a speech, you should just get into the speech directly instead of explain your speech first. In summary, it was a really great speech. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Can I have our next evaluator please come forth?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Nick. Objectives were, of course, to do a well-researched speech, to make it engaging, and to have it well organized. Nick, in summary, you met all the objectives. However, I do have some comments I can make about this speech. First of all, I loved about your idea about sharing your experience online with both words and pictures. The last time I saw you use visual aids, it wasn't quite as successful as it was tonight. I thought you did a pretty good job, although I do have some grow points you'll get in your written evaluation. I felt you also were very strong tonight verbally. Your words were descriptive, and the way you put emphasis on certain statistics made them stand out and show us how important they were both to you and perhaps to us as the audience. This technique of exaggerating to add a little bit of humor also helped to make a dry subject far more interesting. We know you didn't really count all those people, but it did make us have a little smile. At least it made me smile. Now, I was wondering, because it was a research speech, what your source was for some of those astounding statistics. I noticed in the chat that Kanan gave us even more statistics, which helps us all to get an idea about this fabulous country. Was this an official government source? Was it Wikipedia? Where did you get these statistics? Another way you could have confirmed some of your statistics plus your observations would be to talk about the view of someone else, such as your lovely wife. We know she was with you, and I thought it might have been nice to have heard some of her perspective in there, just as an idea, a way to expand on this research by experience idea. Now, I was also impressed with the way you kept us engaged with photographs. As good as your descriptions were of that train, I could never have imagined that luxury or that theater. I tell you, that looks like nothing in Winnipeg. And we have a couple with reclining seats, but they're sure not as luxurious as that. So I appreciated those photos. They just brought it all to life. Now, another grow point I have, it relates to your organization. You covered a lot of ground, and it's not just because of the big train ride. Perhaps this could actually have been 3 speeches. If people would open the PDF, he's got it outlined as to what 3 parts of this that he talked about. And I think just focusing on one, perhaps the culture, would have been enough for a 5 to 7 minute speech. Because you were so engaging, I just wanted to hear more and see more pictures. I love how you ended by inspiring us, by saying, when you travel, ask questions more than what does it cost? And you gave specific what, where, why, when, and how. Frankly, what I got out of this speech is that my travel in the future will be far more interesting because I plan to do that very thing, ask more questions. I think that you have given us some ideas for how we can enhance our own travel and indeed become more educated and maybe even more interesting people through travel. So thank you very much. And as always, I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to evaluate our meeting. But before I do that, can I have the counter give his or her report?
Actually, we have one more evaluator.
Oh, we do?
Yes,
Whoops.
Sunny.
Okay, I'm
Hi.
sorry. Sorry about
Mr.
that, Sunny.
Not a problem. Mr. General Evaluator. I have resilience, so I'm just going to move right along. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially JaMarr. JaMarr, I want to see you, so I'm just moving a little bit so I can see where you are. There you are. Okay, JaMarr, I loved your speech. You owned your space by standing up, and even more so, you had gestures that had everyone knowing that you knew what you were talking about. And it compensated for the darker background that you had behind you. But you know, a lighter background might have made you pop a little bit more, but I truly enjoyed it. Power suit, power tie. And you started with a rhetorical question, which you answered, and you shared the importance of communicating through podcasting. You gave examples of good podcasts. You painted a great picture in my mind of podcasting. However, I already knew more about it, but I loved your, let's see, it was, you said, imagine being a fly on the wall. And it made me think about, yes, people kind of peep into conversations that you have with someone or with yourself. So sure, I would love to do more podcasting. You inspired me to take that on, as a matter of fact, because I already do radio, but podcasting is my next venture. You mentioned Anchor, so you did give us what you said. You told us how we can start a podcast. What I think that you could do a little bit better is you talked about your verbal brainstorm. I wanted to hear you. I would have loved for you to give an excerpt so that we could listen to just a little bit of your podcast. And then what I know about you is that you want to be a world-class speaker. And so you definitely gave us some ideas, and a look into the fact that you have competed and you've even won at a great level. Now, what I do recall is this quote, you made me think about it, by Nancy Duarte. She says, personal stories are the emotional glue that connect your message with the audience. And I loved when you talked about some people that you met and how they became engaged with you enough to visit you during your world speaking. So that was great to get to know a little bit more about you. I wasn't sure where you were going with your speech because I did not have your objectives. And I know you're a member of 5 clubs. I know you coach, but because you want to be a world-class speaker at a higher level, take advantage of your evaluations. Make sure that your evaluator gets the form, and also probably mention what you would like that person to look for. I would have loved to wonder about what could I help you do better or observe to see that you are doing a great job of it. I could talk more and more, but what I do know is in your second meeting, you've already jumped in as a speaker, and I certainly look forward to many more of your speeches. So you did a great job. And again, thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Now I will before I give my evaluation of the meeting, can I have the counselor step up and give his or her report?
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. I will now summarize the Oz. Tricia, 1 1 well. Hariom, 1 and 3 so's. Joanne, 1 2 ums, 1 1 and, 3 so's, and 1 well. JaMarr, 2 ands, 1 or, 1 so. Knit, 6 ahs, 3 ums, 1 2 wells, 1 or, and 1 so. Isabel, 1 ah, 1 2 ands. Sunny, 1 ah, 1 4 ands, 1 but, 1 so. Rainy, 3 ahs, 3 ands, and 5 so's. Matt, 1 1 and 2 buts. Katya, 5 ums, 1 and 1 so. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Now, can I have the grammarian give his or her report? Oops.
I don't actually.
Yeah, please unmute.
Slade. Was I on? Was I
Yeah,
not?
no, you're
muted?
fine. No, you're fine.
Okay. Joanne used colorful language in her section on jargon. I wrote down all those things and understand yet less about them after speaking, but thank you for the effort. Nick, your research was engaging. I heard many lots of and lotsa. Perhaps there would be a different turn of phrase that you could use. There was an instance where you said 2 other things was instead of 2 other things were. I loved the phrase a hard Brexit, Nick. Consumerization, I'm not 100% sure that's a word. For William, you made a comment that 1 minute was up, and I wasn't sure about the proper use of that. 1 minute is up or several minutes are up. JaMarr, I loved podcasting, but you didn't define podcasting before you went on with the conversation. And for those of us that are of a certain age, perhaps that would be helpful to define it. I do know what podcasting is, but also what is the cloud? There was a statement where you said I was going to get something, and perhaps a more professional way of saying it would be obtain. I'm going to obtain something. I love the phrase social cash. People who use the word resilient, Harrian used it 3 times, Nick used it once, Sunny used it once, Joanne once, and introducing it, I used it once as well. For William, in your role as general evaluator, you said there will be a green, red, you named the times, and then at the end you said, and a 30-second deviation. I don't know exactly that was the correct word. I'm struggling to find a different word for it, but it didn't resonate with me. So I don't claim efficacy in that area, but it just didn't resonate terribly well. But otherwise, everyone did such an amazing job with turns of phrase and language. Thank you so much for the privilege of being grammarian, and I'll turn it back over to the general evaluator. William?
Thank you. Now I'm going to give the timings for everything. Joanne speaking, 5 minutes. Nick, 9 minutes, 5 seconds. Toastmaster Johnson, 8 minutes and 5 seconds. For table topics, Rainey, 1 minute and 21. Matt Smittle, 1 minute 30. Katia, 1 minute 30. For the evaluators, Isabel, 2 minutes. Cheryl, 3:30. And Sunny, 3:30. Now I'm going to give my general evaluation of the meeting. The Toastmaster did an awesome job. She always does. Everyone helped out where needed. And this is a great club, and I enjoy being a member. I turn control back over to our awesome Toastmaster, Toastmaster Tricia.
Thank you. And we're right back on time, so I will go ahead and close this meeting. I'll turn the meeting over to our president, Aaron Long.
So I think we have 2 roles, but yeah. So would you like to actually talk about the chat monitor, Matt, just in case you are doing a report.
Yeah. Okay. I was looking for the activeness of the chat, and it was appropriate tonight. There was a steady flow of comments all throughout the meeting, from the beginning all the way to the end. So the chat was active appropriately tonight. I would like to recognize our president for recognizing guests and our new member, and also for identifying issues in chat, such as a low mic. Canon posted the timing requirements for table topics, which was good. I like that. And I'd like to recognize Tricia for posting the room red, green, yellow. Since we were not able to see the cards tonight, she posted that in the room, which was good. I did not see any questions in the chat room tonight. Everything was good. Like I said, it was an active flow of comments all throughout the meeting, which is what we should strive for. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. Wait. So now is the time whereby we are going to have the polls for all the speakers, all the table topic speakers, and also our evaluators. So, ta-da! Thanks, Tricia. Feel free to give some feedbacks for today. Well, today, my role as a voice language monitor, I haven't given my report yet, but along the side, while you are filling in, is that most of people actually use the virtual lectern pretty well. In terms of green screening, there's only one person that's doing the green screen, which is Cheryl. I was actually looking forward to Sunny, who's doing the green screening, but haven't seen it today. But maybe she has something in plan. Challenges for a few members. Teresa. Most of the time I see Teresa's lightings are reflected off her face. So most of the time I see is actually a bright white color reflection. So the suggestion for Teresa is actually shift the webcam slightly to the left so you can position to avoid the direct sunlight. Otherwise, there will be overexposure. The others, like Nick itself, really good, cozy environment. I love JaMarr's the best because that was a nice purple lectern I never seen in ages. Most of the virtual lecterns I see is green color or blue, but that was a purple one. So that's a very nice background you got there. Otherwise, Matt also has the similar problem with Teresa, with the lightings exposed, overexposure. So, but that will be the challenge whereby you can actually focus the light slightly dimmer, and that will fix the problem. The others are fine. So while waiting for the others. Yep. If you have finished your poll, raise up your hand. Raise up your right hand. If not finished your poll, raise up your left hand. Nice one, JaMarr. So now if we have the results, can Tricia show us the results? Yeah, most of us find the meeting today is satisfactory, over satisfactory. So great job for everyone. Give a round of applause on the pat on the shoulder for giving a very nice, successful, satisfactory meeting. We have a very nice tie with the speakers. JaMarr actually won the best speaker. Give a round of applause for JaMarr. But in terms of timings, there's only one person that actually got into the right timings, and that is Joanne Foster. So we have kind of both winners to recognize both the contributions. So we'd like to hear from JaMarr first on your thoughts. I can't hear you. Something's wrong. I'll pass the stage to Joanne first.
Thank you so much. Hi, good evening, President, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Oh, it was my honor to do my second project to end pathways this evening. and I take your advice and your evaluations to heart, and I will practice harder and give myself more time next time. Thank you to practice. Good evening.
Wave. Next, we have JaMarr to talk about his winning thoughts.
So first of all, I would like to say all feedback is good feedback for me as I am on a journey to become the 2019 World Champion of Public Speaking. And with that being said, I understand how important time is. I didn't see any indication of time, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out a setup where I can maybe have an extra phone on Zoom that is only on the timer, so that I can see the time, because I've got a laptop, I've got a phone, I've got enough technology to figure this stuff out. But it's a pleasure being here tonight. I had a lot of fun. That was an impromptu speech. Thank you for your attention. I had so much fun.
Next, we have our most favorite table topic speaker. We have two winners for today. One is Rainy and one is Matt Spittle. So, give a round of applause for them. Let's hear from Rainy about her winning spots. My bad.
I was surprised actually when the table topic Toastmaster called my name, because this was the first time that I was called by somebody to give the table topic speech. Because I actually have been other clubs, online clubs or offline clubs, and usually there would be a time for people to perhaps raise up their hand to see whether they are prepared to do a table topic. But this time I was called by the Toastmaster, so I was really shocked, and so I was really nervous. And my speed, I don't think I do it very well because my speed is really fast. Maybe next time I can do it better. I can slower a little bit down my speed. Yeah, thank you.
Great job. I mean, all of them are great attempts because table topics can be played in a very different way. It's really impromptu. So let's hear from Matt Spittle about his winning table topic speech.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Please unmute yourself, Matt.
Okay. I liked Rainy's topic better, so I talked about her topic a little bit more than my topic. I always get, every time during table topics, I always like somebody else's topic. But that's why I talked about her topic a little bit, and then I mentioned mine a little bit. Thank you for the winner. Thank you.
Applause. Next, we have our favorite evaluator, Cheryl. Give your winning thoughts for today. Yay.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I have decided that taking it very seriously in Pathways, that evaluation of an evaluator, and I've really been working hard to expand my evaluation. So I am very pleased to receive this award tonight, and I thank you all very kindly. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have our best facilitator. Who else can it be? The one that is working so tirelessly behind the scenes, Tricia Grow.
Thank you so much. I could not do this without all of your help. I enjoy being a leader. I enjoy being in this club, and I enjoy spending this hour and 15 minutes with you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, though. So final touches will be the President's citation of, rather saying President Award to the actual one to give to two people that I find really has shown so much flavor in this club and also in this meeting. The first award I would like to give to is Matt, the other Matt, who is the art counter. Reason number one is very professional, specific details. You can see that none of them escape his eyes. So literally, he is doing a very professional accounting report, and everyone can look at him as a role model for that part. So give a round of applause to Matt. Next, I would love to really award the next award to someone that I find has improved so much, tremendously. I know there's no such word. So tremendously for a lot of times. And that person goes to William. And reason number one, very simply speaking, because William used a webcam over the years, he hasn't used the webcam too many times, but now he actually practiced on the hands-on approach of the webcam. And moreover, you can see his face clearly. He has actually improved so much on the. Thank you, Cheryl, but tremendously is the word. So, really want to thank these two individuals for showing so much improvements over time. Although Matt is just new one, but William has been improving on since last year compared to I know him for a long time. So I'd like to hear from Matt about his thoughts for getting this award. Please unmute him.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the award. I enjoyed keeping track of the Oz. It was very challenging, and I needed to remain organized, but it was fun, and I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this group. It's a very professional, very fun, very diverse group, and I'm looking forward to participating in the future. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. Next, we have William to talk about his winning thoughts for this award.
My thoughts are this. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this award. I am very honored and happy to be a member of Competitive Communicators and help this club to be President's Distinguished. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And just for information that we are already President Distinguished if we renew. So looking for, as a reminder for everyone to renew their membership fees from April to, for April to September. So membership dues renewals are actually starting now. So please, if you have any fees going to be renewed, please send it to our treasurer, Kanai.